Good morning. You are listening to WCEG Network. This morning we have a interesting topics also in our page or our website, WCEG Network. You can find some resources that may help you on these issues. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. And my name is Ramona Hernandez. You are in our bilingual place. For the next hour, you are gonna be with you. And I thank you so much the time you are taking. And I invite you to connect through Facebook, Instagram, Smart TV. You also can like our videos on YouTube. If you want to research about some topic, you can go to YouTube and type wceg.talkradio.com or WCEG Network, and you can review the amazing programs and shows we have. And today we are alone by ourselves. And before I begin, I want to let you know, as always, the opinions, the suggestions are responsibility for our guests, and this time for me and now for WCEG Network. So before begin, I want to send a message that I'm gonna talk about this topic with all the respect. The information I'm providing, in my opinion, today is only for the research and what I read, personal experience, personal research. People outside may have different experiences, different opinions, but I respect, okay? I respect all of that. I just want to recognize and give a message to people who are traveling and struggling with the conditions that children and adults have, that is the autism, the ASD. So the autism is a disorder that impacts the nervous system. And this may cause because the environment, the contamination, some genetics issues. But there is a debate, in my opinion, there is a debate specifically why this happened. The truth is that the world is not the same like before. And before, in past generations, because I have some experiences on that, in the past generations, we didn't recognize our parents, grandparents, grandparents didn't recognize that. But now it's different because now we put probably more attention. We are living different times where we recognize that there are disorders and conditions on some individuals that really are need treat medically. So for these children and adults with ASD, autism, are very difficult to communicate, to develop socially, to focus, to make decisions. And believe or not, now that I have been more outside in different groups, social groups, I have been, you learn to put attention to the personalities, to the behaviors, and I've been listening so many, for different friends and, like I say, groups or different places I go in, for children having autism. So these children are very different, not very different for us, but different on the behaviors. And, people who haven't heard about it may think, or because this child don't have education, because this child don't have control on themselves, because the parents don't say anything to them, they don't educate them. But now listening, back on time and knowing friends with children with this condition, now I understand more why they behave, they do things like they do, and I've been learn and feel guilty in some points to judge, and it's something that we all do until we learn these children have these conditions. So I encourage everybody to recognize and these conditions that are not because we don't teach our children. We always have to learn to mentalize ourselves that there are conditions outside that we don't know, and because and children's behave like that. So our producer when we finish and we available, we're gonna share some resources for help where you can contact them about to treat autism. um, so the symptoms for children are, I know, and I have read that are difficulty to focus. Some children tend to have a lot repetitive interactions, obsessive behaviors. Um, Socially, it's difficult for them to interact. So I feel in this situation, and it's just to have patience and try to understand. Um, I understand and I feel that they live in a different universe where they focus on something and we cannot understand. But for all the parents that have children without this, um, I just want to let you know that we empathize and we recognize and, in some ways support them to understand the condition, because a long time ago, I had a student with a child. I didn't know she had a child with autism. And she always was talking about me. She had to take care to the child to therapy. But once I got with her and talked more deeply with her, she also was telling me she found a group where they support parents and they educate the parents about the condition, about the therapy for them and the child so they can work together. So I know to get help is very difficult because there are so many difficulties, because transportation centers to attention, medical attention, specialist attention are very far many of the times. There are places where there are now closed centers, local clinics they refer people, families with this condition, but it's very difficult for different situations. I know there are so many struggles, but I also know that if a child is diagnosticated already with a condition, you have to take care of that, because the child gonna grow up. And the condition, if you don't treat the condition, it can be worse. And like I always say as a parent, we're not gonna live forever to stay with them. So we have to prepare our child. And when a child have a condition, it makes more difficult. So there are so many organizations now, that focus and conscientize the communities about this problem. And more, there are more help, more resources. And now that the technology is, the big thing and the main communications, I feel you can find help, help, distance help through the computer and also social media. So I encourage you all, it's a lot sacrifice. But you have to do it, you have to recognize, you have to accept. Are you stacking? I hope my words gave you hope and encouragement. I can imagine how is the struggle, the feeling to have to fight every day for your child. And on the same topic, like I was telling you, in the past generations, we just I born in León, Guanajuato, in Mexico. And the area where I was living for a long time, I met a family who had children with discapacity. These children had Down syndrome. And socially, people segregate them, judge them. The parents, they were old. They had two children with Down syndrome. But I saw them segregated, but as the children grow up, these children were like normal. They were normal. The parents sent them to the school on the evenings. They were selling donuts and selling things outside from home. They know. I saw them getting the money, count the money, cleaning. So all these people with discapacities, with autism, with syndrome of the Down, are very intelligent. Like I said before, I feel and I imagine they are only in one universe where they work together and they imagine and they can survive. Adults on past generations have been growing, without attention, but it has been the life, the kind of life they have been grown, the kind of the parents' mind, how they have been treat them. I'm not saying probably it wasn't on those times the fair treatment for them, but keep in mind that there wasn't the technology, there wasn't the minds we have already, where we know there are conditions, mental conditions, physical conditions, to take them to the doctor to diagnosticate them. So, we all have to open the mind and not think that these children with different discapacity like autism, Down syndrome, hyperactivity, are, less, so we should leave behind. And there are a lot resources right now. It's the difference that we didn't have on the past. So, you know, hopefully more and more people, organizations, more people on political charge positions can look at the need for this community with these special conditions that we are living right now, and it's not created for us, it's created for the change on the environment. Biologically, we don't know. And that is another topic that open, we have to open with our children on our history, biologic history. Talk to them about our families on past generations. because on the present, we can have, or develop illness or conditions. And we just say, I don't know why this happened because I never know, in our family ran this condition, but probably your grandmother, your grandparent, know about the grandparents that have or developed the condition. Now you are developing or having. So that is important of communication with our children. And also the urgency for us to talk with our parents, to ask them questions, who, how was my parent? How was my uncle? How, on health, on behaviors? Um, we can tell so many stories about people, with developing mental health problems or having conditions or autism or Down syndrome or hyperactivity or, thousand and thousand of conditions that our children and our, relatives, friends have. Um, so just focus on that, and a big recognition to all the parents that sacrifice more with children with these conditions. And because I say, if we have, thanks God, healthy children, we work and we struggle a lot. Imagine those parents who have to struggle with conditions, with children with conditions. So the message is there, and I say again with all the respect, because these are not easy. You know, um, I don't want to say problems, but these difficult situations, and always remember you are not alone. This not happen only to you. There are so many people outside and that had been struggling with children with this condition, but just put focus your love in them. Right now you can read a lot, thousand stories with children with autism working in cafes, having abilities that you never know, and amazing gifts they have on creativity, art. Um, they have been developing business. They have been, continuing with the heritage of their family. We can see artists with some conditions. We can see, business persons, artists, like I say, poets, having these conditions, and you don't notice because they haven't have the help, they haven't have loving families that support them through all this process to learn, to develop themselves, and just find a way to get help and support for family, friends, community, professionals that are specialized on that issues. I also want to talk about, for months, um, I have been talking about mental health. So mental health had been, as you know, since the pandemic or before, had been increasing a lot in the communities, all ages, teenagers, children. We have seen children for 9, 8, 5 years, smaller, 2 years, 1 year, that become frustrated because they cannot do just a simple thing like tie shoes or put a sweater. Uh, so it has been increasing a lot. For that, I also think that we all have to, as parents or relatives for teenagers, and ourselves, we have to take our time. Um, Many of the times, and I want I am conscious that many people who suffer say conditions that develop more and more because they stress, because they start having stress and frustration. If you don't take care on that, it increase in more, it can attack your nervous system, attacking your mind with different conditions like schizophrenia, like bipolar disorders, and all of that. So my message for today is get help. Right now, even look, many people suffer for stress. Stress is very common. Stress is, and I personally, I take it like, I feel so nervous. I'm gonna drink a tea and I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna sleep a little bit and it's gonna go away. But for many people, it's not working like that. For many people, the stress never gone with a tea or with a sleep. They have to have another options. And but you have to conscientize yourself that it's not just simple stress. So there are so many resources that you can found in your community. Just looking, non-profit organizations that work with stress, um, mental health support groups. That's gonna direct you to some places, but you have to be very careful because now all the places Google gonna send you, it's gonna be true or it's gonna be good. But right now you can go to the hospital if you have a crisis, mental health crisis, or if you feel a panic attack. I have been listening so much right now that um, um panic attack, um, go to the hospital. They're gonna redirect you to different places. Many of the times, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have an experience where, well, many people don't know, but I'm gonna put out. A long, long time ago, my oldest daughter was in a crisis. I think it was a panic attack. But when you are very young and you are in the ages of high school, there is so many pressure. And if you have a mom that pressures more, or sometimes because parents contribute so much on the stress for children and teenagers, is the truth, unfortunately. So she had, that I know now, it was a panic attack. I took her because it's bad. It's something that you cannot explain how you can look outside the panic attack, the reaction for a person having a panic attack. Um, you just can listen in what is happening to them. Um, so in that occasion, we wake up. I was doing breakfast, and I was telling her, I was telling her, today we're gonna clean up. Today we're gonna take all the dishes from the cabinets, and you're gonna help me to do this, to do that. And I think she has so much pressure. And I remember I was telling her, in the afternoon, we're going to visit my friend and we're going to spend a time there, and all my plans. Then suddenly she started screaming and she ran outside from home to the yard and start saying, I feel so bad, I can breathe, I cannot, I feel so bad, I'm gonna die. And I got so scared, it was bad. And I didn't find what to do in that moment. So I took her to the hospital. In the hospital, when we got there, they put us in a room, and when you go to hospital, it's forever. So the nurse came, but for that, in that time, she already was calm. She already was saying, "Mom, we should go. I feel better." And I say, no, you have the doctor have to check you and see what is happening. So the nurse came and she was talking with us, what happened, how this happened, why, you know, all of that. Then, and I thank so much this nurse, because she was telling us that, she explained us that maybe she had a lot of stress, and then her body, her mind wasn't able to manage well, and then she exploded. She didn't, sometimes the body don't know how to react to a lot of pressure. Then you know, your chemics in your body don't know where to go, how to align. Then it come to your mind, and it's when all these crises happen. But when we went through the time we went to the hospital, it was calm, it was silent, it was, calm, more calm. The body got relaxed. So she was good. She was talking well with the nurse. And one thing that I thank her is that she direct to her and say, look, I can send you to a center. Um, so they gonna provide you therapy, but also they gonna give you some medicine to calm down and to, balance the chemics in your body, in your mind. And my daughter say, I feel good right now. I don't feel bad. But then the nurse direct to me and say, look, this is what happened. Your daughter is learning how to deal with stress, with pressure, with a lot, because she's growing. She is still is developing, developing the mind to grow. There is so much happening. And it's regularly, typically, what happened with our teenagers. She told me, and this is only my experience, this is not recommended for no one, but it's just an advice she told me, and I thank so much. She said, look, it's in your decision. If you want, we refer her to a mental center right now. And they, like I say, they gonna give her therapy, but also they gonna medicate her. Sometimes it worked for good, sometimes it didn't work. So I decided, I think I'm gonna try to work with her and manage her growing, her developing, um, physical and mentally developing ourselves in home. But if I see something else, probably we can take the other option. And it's very difficult sometimes. Thanks God for us, it worked. And I changed a lot my way. Um, in that moment, I tried to be more understandable, to be more flexible with all of them. Because our children also need their space, their time. It's not only, I come from other generations where, it was an outline, you do this, you do that, you do that, and after that, you do this, you do that. Right now, our children are very different. We are living different times. Our children are in more pressure, different pressure that we were on those time. And I become more flexible, I feel. I'm still, like noisy with my children, but um, I'm more understandable, more flexible, and try to give them more space. And for adults, personally for me, I I always smile even when bad things are happening, even when I feel so much pressure. I've been learning to manage all of that things. Because a long time I hear a friend that say, look, everything happen. In one moment you can be like just in one little teeny space and everything is happening. But after a minute, after something, many things happen and everything got different. Everything fall into place and ends. There is not, it didn't work. You killed yourself with the stress um, because everything happened. Everything happened. It's gonna be happen the way it's gonna be happen. And many of the times you cannot control what's gonna happen. And it's true. But like I say, the same for teenagers. Not many teenagers, not many adults are the same. Some other persons may need some medications, may need some therapies to deal with the stress, to avoid more serious mental illness come, mental conditions come to the body, to yourself. So my advice for everybody feeling sad, feeling that don't find a way to go out from problems, um, look for help. Don't feel ashamed, don't feel bad, don't feel that you are the only person and people gonna judge you. You have to take care of yourself and you have to admit that something really bad is happening or something is developing on you. I know, people who is suffering this not gonna see this way, but maybe a relative, maybe a mother, a father, sister, brother that is around this person may have the courage to help them, to put them in a good place for help, for assistance. So we can avoid so many things. Just have the mind, the knowledge, the information. So, today is the message I have for you all. If you want to check some resources, there are not many, but always have the computer and research for this. Or go to the hospital or go to any non-profit organization. For sure, they can guide you and they can refer you to some places where you can get some help on the issues. I thank you so much the time you are taking this Saturday to listen to us. And remember, WCEG Network is the platform working for the community. And, for gauge resources and gauge some hope and some um, encouragement to continue in life, developing yourself professionally, personally. So now quickly, I'm gonna share this message with our Hispanic Latin community. And I hope next month you can watch us because we have a special guest that also work for the community in health, for rights, for communities. Buenos días, muchas gracias por estar escuchando WCEG Network. Bueno, rapidito les tengo que decir, el mensaje de hoy es acerca del autismo. El autismo es un desorden que impacta al sistema nervioso. Este causa dificultad para la comunicación, la interacción social. Muchas personas, niños que tienen, bueno, especialmente niños que tienen esta condición, tienen intereses obsesivos, tienen comportamientos repetitivos y son muchos más que podríamos decir, muchas más sintomología que podemos ver en ellos, acciones que podemos ver en ellos. Ah, Antes que todo, y empezando a hablar de este tema, quiero decirles, no soy experta, y lo hago con mucho respeto, hablando para las familias, las personas que tienen esta condición. Esta información es basada en lo que yo he leído en mis experiencias con algunos amigos, compañeros. Este, Quiero dar un reconocimiento. Leí que abril es un día para reconocer esta condición para niños y adultos. Y quiero dar un reconocimiento y quiero también mandar el mensaje a la comunidad hispana latina de que esta condición existe y que ojalá todos tengamos un poco, ustedes saben, a más de conocimiento sobre esta condición, porque a veces podemos ver niños que a lo mejor actúan diferente, a lo mejor se comportan, podemos decir, mal o no reaccionan bien o no sé, ustedes saben a veces cómo juzgamos, pero solo reconocer que estas condiciones existen, como el autismo, la hiperactividad, el síndrome de Down también, y muchas otras condiciones que nuestros niños, ustedes saben, desafortunadamente pueden tener, y no causadas por nosotros mismos, sino causadas por el ambiente en el que vivimos ya ahora tan industrializado. Ustedes saben, lamentablemente ahora hasta el aire es am, contaminado con químicos, nunca sabemos con tanto químico que hay afuera. Nuestra comida también está muy industrializada, mucho fertilizante, nuestras frutas. Puede ser genético, puede ser, nunca sabemos, ¿me entienden? Hay un debate grande, creo que en eso, aunque sea demostrado científicamente, siempre va a haber un debate específicamente por qué causa condiciones así o cualquier otras enfermedades. Am, Gracias a Dios tenemos ayuda en diferentes organizaciones sin fines de lucro. Si ustedes van a WCEG, a nuestra plataforma en Facebook, yo investigué sobre algunos recursos, no son todos, pero ustedes saben, empezar por algún lado. Hay muchas organizaciones ahora conscientes de estas situaciones en las familias y se ha desarrollado, creo que un poco más de conciencia para poder ayudar, para poder ofrecer y comprender estas situaciones. Am, Estaba leyendo también, hay condición de autismo entre adultos. Entre adultos, la más característica situación que se mira es dificultad en la comunicación porque no se entiende el sentimiento hacia otras personas. Los comportamientos son difíciles, la comunicación. Y ustedes saben, estaba yo platicando, en generaciones pasadas nosotros no contemplábamos nuestros abuelos, nuestros tatarabuelos probablemente no se consentía estas condiciones y pues uno crecía y ustedes saben, estas personas con estas condiciones simplemente se desarrollaban sin pensar en esa situación, en ese diagnóstico. Los tiempos han cambiado, nuestros niños ahora ya son diferentes, viven en diferente entorno, diferentes presiones, diferentes situaciones. Y el mensaje es, busquen ayuda, y ojalá se tenga más concientización para organizaciones, personas en cargos políticos, ayudar un poco más a esta comunidad de jóvenes y adultos con estas condiciones. También nuestro segundo tópico era sobre la salud mental en diferentes niveles, situaciones que pasan para nuestros hijos jóvenes, para pues nosotros como adultos, debemos reconocer que a veces nosotros, hay personas que solo toman un té, descansan y se sienten bien, el estrés se va, pero hay personas que necesitan un poco más de ayuda y para eso necesitamos buscarla, hablar, concientizarnos de que algo mal está pasando y no tiene nada de malo sentirse mal y no tiene nada de malo hablar de nuestra situación, pero tenemos que hablarlo. Entonces, los recursos probablemente sean limitados, pero hay recursos y entre más buscas, más encuentras. Por hoy es todo. Ojalá que esta comunicación haya servido para muchas personas afuera. Y cualquier cosa, recuerden, WCEG Network es una plataforma para la comunidad. No importa si no habla inglés, por favor comuníquese para más detalles que quiera saber sobre algún tópico. Si tiene alguna sugerencia, por favor déjenos saber también. Y le agradezco mucho este sábado que estuvo aquí con nosotros escuchándonos. Y pues el mes que viene vamos a tener una invitada muy especial que también trabaja para la comunidad y hace mucho por nosotros, a la comunidad hispana, latina, afroamericana y de todas las comunidades. Y espero que nos sintonicen y les agradezco mucho. Thank you so much, WCEG Network, for the time and the space you gave us today. And I want to see you next month.